Okay, hello class. Today I'll be discussing weekly 5, the readings from both books. I'm going to start off with Ada and the Campoy book. My reflection on this really discussed about the recognizing human qualities and the expectations from us educators and parents and how we really impact our youth today. What I mean by that is we expect so much from them, as mentioned in the book. Sometimes we don't give direct praise for things that they do. Instead, it's just so general. And in this chapter, it talked about how educators, parents talk about their children's qualities rather than praising them in person. I sometimes find myself doing this, to be honest, to my kids. Like, sometimes I don't praise them when they need to be praised, and I more so talk about it with others, the things that they do, the good qualities. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, class. I had to pause that for a moment. I had someone at the door. But as I was saying, I find myself doing that a lot with my kids. I sometimes don't praise them directly, and sometimes I get on them a lot. But this book really discussed, and as I reflect, it makes me want to actually do a better job as a parent when it comes to praising my children, because it doesn't hurt to praise children. Sometimes they need that motivation and that encouragement to want to do better and knowing that they're doing things right, and it's okay. Also, another thing discussed in this book is, that what stood out to me was when we encourage, we show an appreciation, and that when we are speaking about, false praise, like we're telling kids and we're comparing them to other students, that's something that I never do. But what I will say is, one day I was upset, and I did tell my daughter, I was like, you're acting like your sister, your baby sister. Are you a baby? And I was comparing her to how her sister acts, and that wasn't right. So this chapter really had me thinking and making those connections to things in my own life and things that I need to, work on and do better. And as an educator, it, gives us, food for thought on how we want to be with our students. Literacy was a big thing in this book because it talked about, different books that you can introduce to students and promote to these students that encourage human qualities. Learning to like yourself. Why do you like yourself? I know for me, I know that I'm outgoing. I like that I'm a fighter. I never give up. We all have qualities that we all think are important to us. To others may not be so much, but we all, have something that we like about ourselves. And those are things that we should embrace. What I will say to close out the first book is that when modeling, we need to, show an appreciation for ourselves first. It starts with us. We can't help others without first working on us. And that's a big deal for me because I am working on me, and it's a process. But being happy with yourself is the first step. Let's move on to the reading off my notes like I always do, class. The second book, One Child, Two Languages. This chapter discussed self-identity, speaking a second language. You know what? I'm mixing them up, actually. I mixed it up. I'm going to go back. The other book, I left out something. It also... Oh, you know what? I'm right. The second book, it talked about self-identity, name, the meaning, and how it varies amongst cultures and adulthood, whereas others it stays the same. I can relate to this because we're reflecting, because my children, I named my oldest child Sajer. Her name means something. It's the beginning of my first name and her father's first name together. Sajer. Say hi.
Hi.
And her name is unique and it's different because she's the only one with that name. And sometimes she's like, Mommy, why did you name me that? Why does my name have to be Sajir? But I'm like, look, it's a beautiful name. You're the only one with that name. And I told her what it means and the meaning behind it. And so the meaning behind her name, the reason why her name is the first couple of letters in my name and her father's, is because he wanted her name to start with a J. And, of course, because my name starts with an S, it had to start with an S. So, to be fair, she got both of the best worlds. She has both of the best worlds of, his name and my name. Every name does have a story behind it. Relationships vary. And we all have a way we prefer to be, to be called. Even with this, I can relate back to this with my students at work. A lot of my students call me Miss Adolphin. I prefer for them to call me Miss Sabrina. And one day I was at work and my supervisor said, no, I want the children to call you Miss Adolphin. And I'm like, okay, but what about the children that have already been calling me Miss Sabrina? So I prefer to be Miss Sabrina, but my supervisor wants Miss Adolphin. So I'm fine. I have to do what I have to do. The second book also, speaking a second language. Children will continue using the language that they already know, because it takes time for them to learn a new language. It's a process that they go through with learning a new language. Children work through a sense of revelations. It discussed three things. The first thing was not everyone understands or speaks, that language or their language. The second one, people who don't understand don't speak the different language. And the third, if they want to communicate with those people, they must learn to speak a different language. Now, I'm a little bit in the middle with this, because I feel, with students today, when they're taking tests, the tests are in English. And it's hard for some students, because I work in a Head Start program and I have 17 3-year-olds. And it's hard because when we're testing these students and doing our assessments on them, the test is not given in their language that they know. It's given in English. So it's a little bit of a conflict, because if they don't know certain things in English, or, obviously they're not going to score so high on the assessment. But I feel that we're in a world, an ever-changing world, a melting pot with diverse and various cultures, and it's good to be culturally diverse, but at the same time, I do feel that the testings and things like that we have going on should accommodate those, whose primary language isn't English. I feel that we need to be more understanding and, really accommodate those who need to be accommodated. But my overall on these two books and what we had to read, I like these two chapters only because it really gave me food for thought. And as I reflected back on my own life and things that I have going on with my kids, and, self-identity and, recognizing human equalities, learning to love yourself, embracing, your identity. It could be your looks, your color, your hair, whatever it may be. Learn to embrace it. I embrace my identity and who I am every day. And so these chapters were really, really good. By far my best, the best that we've done so far in this class. And that's it, you guys. Talk to you later.